Hello, and welcome to my final presentation for ENG 201. Two early assignments piqued my interest in the class, that is, sharing my favorite reading memories and also the James Baldwin piece where he read his way out of Harlem. Both resonated with me, and I embraced the opportunities I would have with this course. The following is a Dr. Seuss quote, and it sums up the reading experience for me. You can find magic wherever you look. Sit back and relax. All you need is a book. In a typical workday, I have 10 hours, including the commute. When carrying classes, my schedule followed the following pattern. Home at 6, dinner and family time until 8, and into my home office to do classwork. Recreational reading was my last priority. I would read at improper times, like bedtime, or settings with the TV on. I would find I would only be able to get through 4 to 5 pages before falling asleep. I read to finish the book. I would blow through some pages even skimming, just to get to the end. The key strategies I decided to employ in this class were to notice the imagery, to mark the words that appealed to one of the 5 senses, and also to cut out distractions. You can't read well if you're checking your phone or watching TV, and I took that to heart. Also, I decided to research the author after reading the story. I wanted to form my own opinion and analysis prior to knowing their thoughts and motivations. My annotation, I devised a 3-read system. I would read first for entertainment, then I would not read again for 24 hours. On the second read, I would mark the text. I would flag items that I wanted to revisit, including initial thoughts and themes. On the third reads, I would make my notes in the notebook, as you will see later in the presentation. I would use the notebook to allow me to write fuller observations and questions on both the story and the author. Also, I would flag items that I wanted to research. For example, hills like white elephants, I wanted to look up abortion procedures worldwide and from other areas. How did the reading strategies benefit me with our early assignments? For the things they carried, I decided to put all the strategies I selected into the reader's response. I remember starting to read the story in my bedroom with the TV on. I caught myself and I cut the TV off. On the second read, I noted the items that the soldiers were carrying and focused more on the relationships as well, especially the narrator and Martha. On the third read, I grabbed my notebook and really analyzed the text. This was the longest session and required me to reread and review sections of the story. Here's a copy of my notes. I'll point out a couple items that became part of my analysis. First was the use of full names, as reverence for the living soldiers, and those with single names had ghosts, except for Kiowa, who only had one name. Also, my position that the author was a veteran, and that his position in the story was anti-war. Knowing about the author became important to me, and as if it were possible, I would gather up all of those that we read and discuss with them their stories and process. The aha moments came early. After analyzing the things they carried, I found that the use of strategies made me see things I would not have. When I learned about the author, and it confirmed my thought that he was a war veteran, but his position was also anti-war. The successful use of the strategies carried through to the hills like white elephants, the potential message warning about relationships, and the analysis of the husband in the cathedral and his inner and outer conflicts, as well as his complete role in the story. It also helped in the poetry section. The strategy helped me to embrace this section and get enjoyment out of it. Also, it helped me at work when I was reviewing corporate memos, in particular a recent one where we discussed a warehouse closing, and I was able to provide feedback to management on what the potential is for our business 6 to 9 months down the road. Another key moment was device-free night. We had our TV off during dinner. It actually stayed off the rest of the night because most of us we went to read or my son played on his iPad. We no longer use the TV as background noise or a companion when watching TV. Critical analysis. For the Vietnam poem, The First Encounter, here's a snapshot of my annotation. It was the shortest poem, but it was the one I enjoyed the most. Despite its length, there were multiple elements of the poetry that I was able to determine. 2 of those being repetition. As you can see, the 14 of the 93 words were some form of you, and he transformed you into that story. The second was 2 lines of sarcasm when he talked about the sergeant not being prepared for war. In the cathedral, the husband, I determined, was an allegory for 1960 society, intolerance of others, but he came around at the end. He is transformed by his first-hand experience with Robert. The husband's inner and outer conflict. Inner turmoil of not being the first or true love of his wife. How does one find true love? It might not be by sight, but by connection and shared experiences, by conversation and willingness to accept feedback. in The Last by Touch when Robert examined her face. In summary, I learned a lot about myself as a reader and rekindled my desire to read. I'll actually go back and reread some of the last few books that I finished in order to revisit and re-experience the books for true entertainment. Use of the successful strategies, a class at work, less background music, more focus on key points. I mentioned my analysis of the memo that my manager was impressed with the issues raised and the potential impact to our business. And also, researching the author and the story, reading the foreword of a book, or researching items mentioned in the book for more understanding, particularly the lottery, and Shirley Jackson's thoughts and the public's reaction to the publication of the piece. I now look forward to reading again. I will likely read the stories from our class texts that were not assigned to us, as the book exposed me to authors that I would not normally read. Thank you.